What's the deal? James Christos here, the Anarchy movement with
Miss AvaBella. Good morning.
I'd like to welcome you to another episode of AM Anarchy, here broadcasting live at the exclusive wireless mobile store on 3724 Broadway in beautiful Midtown Kansas City. We're here again. This is what, the third week, so we're kind of just moving right along. How was your last week? How's last week?
Last week was good. Last week, actually Thursday in Chicago, the Chicago edition, we spoke about blogs and getting your music into the blog. So I encourage everybody to check out the video. If you haven't watched it yet, it's available on the channel right now.
So yeah, last week we did shoot up to Chicago, and we actually did our broadcast from Chicago. What actually Ava did. I had a meeting and I tried to chime in here and there, so make sure you go back and check out last week's episode. Again, we are broadcasting live from Exclusive Wireless. Come down here, Midtown Kansas City, 3724. Get all your wireless needs met. You know, we're rocking this Moto G right now, man, courtesy of Exclusive Wireless. This thing, man, is pretty dope, man. The camera on this is real dope. It's very clear. I think it's like 8 megapixels.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just a good phone. I'm a basic plain dude. I just explain stuff real plain. The phone is dope. The pictures are clear. The video is clear. We shot some stuff with this on our Road to South by Southwest 2014 pre-showcase that we did at Club 906 in Liberty. Shout out to everybody that came through for that show and performed. Everybody brought their A game. It was a pretty dope show. But onto the Moto G, yeah, like courtesy of Exclusive Wireless. Make sure you come down, grab one, very affordable. Tell them Anarchy Movement sent you and get that player price. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm sure he'll holler at you about it. Shout out to Google, Android operating system. It's just a dope phone. Yeah, come cop one.
And we're also utilizing our Virgin Mobile hotspot, courtesy of Exclusive Wireless. I'm sure that we're coming through clear. Again, on the Google Hangouts, via Google's YouTube. Shout out to Google. But do come out to Exclusive Wireless and pick up one. This saves our lives on the road and for AM Anarchy. Don't forget to tweet us with the hashtag AM Anarchy.
And make sure you join us on Google Hangout, because we're Google on air right now. So you can come in and chime in on the conversation. You know, but on to today's topic, we'll be discussing the headline: things that artists do to cancel themselves out of the game. Let me run it back. Things that artists do to cancel themselves out of the game. Again, we do focus mostly on the independent aspect of music business. So when we say things that artists do to cancel themselves out of the game, we are talking about artists on the come up, or quote-unquote unestablished artists that are out there indie grinding and trying to reach those levels of success where we all as artists want to go. So what do you have the blog. You also work with Anarchy Movement and the talent booking and buying for shows that we do and all that. So, like, what are some of the things that you've come across that, you know, a lot of these artists out here do to cancel themselves out of the game?
I would have to say a couple of things. I know two off the bat because I deal so closely with the entertainment booking. I'm the artist liaison a lot of times for our events. There's just not a level of respect for people who are providing a platform for artists to rock stages, to, you know, open or be on shows with national and international acts. Sometimes people are downright disrespectful, you know, from hitting my inbox to posting on my wall, you know, just real crazy stuff, saying crazy stuff. Once they've, you know, gotten a telephone number, they text all hours of the night. And then, you know, so that's just one is disrespect. The second would be laziness. Laziness in the form of, if you go to Hollywood right now and you want to book a show, this is from personal experience, you're going to have to sell tickets. If you don't sell tickets, you're not doing the show. And the next man has already prepared with 10 of his closest friends, probably 10 to 50 of his closest friends, his or hers, and they're ready to come to the show to support that artist, and that's how it goes down. But for whatever reason, I find that a lot of artists think that they're too good to sell tickets, and the last time I was told to sell tickets, I sold all my tickets, and I was one of the only artists on the show that sold tickets. And it's just amazing to me, like, if you can't get people out, why would we, if you're not a draw, why would we put you on shows? Why would anyone, not just the Anarchy movement, why would anyone put you on a show if you're not a draw? If you're not,
because Auntie told me it was hot.
Well, your mama and your auntie don't count.
Auntie told me it was hot. Auntie told me that it was hot, and it was like, you know, I got talent. You know what I'm saying? And I, like, and you guys have to understand that everything we talk about, like, we talk about not only from the behind the scenes aspect, but we're also artists as well. So we don't really address anything that we haven't done or willing to do or have been asked to do, period. You know, like, I've never asked anybody to do anything on the show as far as like selling tickets or doing anything like that I haven't done. Now, the thing about that is most promoters, when they book you for a show and they ask you to sell some tickets, most of them don't mind splitting some money with you. That's the whole thing. Like, if you got a show that is a $10 show, right, the promoter most times may give you the ticket for $7, maybe even $5 sometimes, where if you actually have 20 tickets to sell and you sell your 20 tickets, the promoter gets 5, so that's 100 for him to help him ensure that he covers his cost and expenses for promotion, the venue, and all that type of stuff. And that's 100 in your pocket, and like, that's effectively getting paid to perform, pretty much. Like, a lot of people just want to show up and get cashed out just because they're occupying stage time and space, and that's not how it works anymore. Maybe back in the 90s, 80s, early 2000s, when it was like, hey, we're doing a rap concert or R&B show or whatever, and people just appreciated the music and it would just come out like that. Maybe then. Now it's way too much. It's way too saturated with artists to have the mentality of that old mentality. I actually had to speak on at our event on this past Saturday up at Club 906. I have no issues about telling people how I feel about it, especially if it's a show that I put on, because most times the people that are on the show are people that I actually respect and I believe in their talent to some degree or whatever. You know, I might not like everything they do, but I believe in their talent enough to put on the show and associate my name and my company name and my partners with it. But I even had to tell them, like, yo, man, this is 2014. If we put you on a show and we don't see you promoting the hell out of it like we are, or we don't see you, you know, trying to get out there and grind, because most times we don't even ask cats to sell tickets unless it's like a big national show that costs us thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. Then we may ask an artist to sell 20 tickets, but that's a drop in the bucket for a show that costs $10,000.
Right.
So, but for shows that we do like locally with some of our closer artists, hey man, if you're not promoting, like, this is the show of the millennium because you're on it and other people are on it, or if you're not selling tickets or bringing people out, like if you don't show up to the door with like 5 people, 10 people, you have effectively canceled yourself from working with the Anarchy movement and probably any other promoter for that matter out there, because in this day and age, nobody wants to lose money. And let me tell you something about this concert promotion game. It is a money pit. Mm-hmm. It is a money pit. There are very few promoters that make a huge living solely off of promoting one specific thing, like especially hip hop. Maybe these rock cats and stuff can get away. I don't know. I don't do that. I don't specialize in that. But there isn't one. Like, you might got a guy that does 4 shows a year because the overhead is so high and the profit margin is so low that it doesn't dictate that he does something more than that. So you got to really study that and understand. So that is one of the things that will have you canceled from the game early on, is not hustling. Like, I do not care how many YouTube views you have.
Or that you've bought. I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care that 10,000 people follow you on Twitter. I care how many people follow you to the door of the Riot Room, the Czar, the Whiskey Go-Go in L.A., the the Midland, the Uptown, Skyline, Double Door in Chicago, Dirty Dog in Austin, Texas. That's what I care about. How many of them people can you convert from following you on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube that will actually follow you to the door? And that's like a big thing. So
yeah, like early this morning I actually tweeted this, and I make it a point to do this often because I don't get caught up in social media and the followers and how many friends I have. I think altogether, everybody that's connected, the Anarchy movement, James Christos, myself, at KCPL, we have like 11,000 followers, but 11,000 followers equals $0. 11,000 friends equals $0. That's what it boils down to. I had just tweeted last night, 1,416 friends or followers on Twitter is $0. Because if it doesn't convert to dollars, then it doesn't make sense. That's an old adage, that's cliche to say, but if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So y'all can miss me with hitting me in my inbox about how many views you got and who all did whatever, but ain't nobody came to no shows, ain't nobody bought your tickets. Have you picked up your tickets yet for this show that we paid for?
We're going to wrap it up. One quick example of something that happened to me. We had a show we were putting on. It was a national artist. I'm not going to say who it was because I really respect everybody that was on the show, but it was just miscommunication. I'll just chalk it up to that. But we had a show with a national artist, and we had, of course, local artists on the bill to support. And I think everybody had like 10 tickets, and there was maybe 3 local openers or Kansas City-based openers. There was 3 of them. So that's 10 tickets a piece and 3 artists. That's 30 tickets, right? And I think the tickets were going for 20 in advance, and no, they were going for 10 in advance and 15 at the door. So hit all the artists off with the tickets, right? One particular artist picked his tickets up the day before the show. And I'm like, whatever, you can get them off, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. So the day the show came, the other artists hit me up with their tickets. What they had, it wasn't a mandatory thing. It wasn't like you have to sell all 10 rows. You can't. I don't even do that. My heart doesn't. People have told me I should do it that way, but I just whatever. So I had a cat bring me back like 4 tickets. Another one brought me 5. So I'm like, okay, well this guy sold 6. This guy sold 5. That's I see you working with me. Like you're bringing something to the table. Cool. I feel a lot better about what I'm doing. So the third cat doesn't bring the tickets before the show. You should settle up before the show when you sell tickets in advance. You settle up.
And that means you have to arrive early.
Right. Or at least on time.
Early is on time. That's what I was told. Yeah.
So we get to me being the kind of person I am, I'm not on no Adolf stuff. I'm not on I'm just like, hey, let everybody perform. We'll sell up at the end of the night. I'm cool. So the end of the night comes, and I asked this cat, where's the tickets or the money? Let's go ahead and settle up. Oh, man, I thought them was promos, man. I gave all them out, man. So you basically stole from me, you know what I mean? You basically took, if it was $10 in advance, you basically took $100 from me. You got to perform. Whoever you gave the tickets to, they came to the show probably for free because you say you didn't sell them. So that's the type of stuff we deal with. That is a definite way to get yourself canceled off of out of the game, man. Like straight up, like do not do that. That's how you get beat up, really. Like rewind. That's not no stuff you do. You know what I mean? You don't play people's money like that. But yeah. So another thing though that I have thought of that kind of, to me, in my opinion, will get you canceled from the game early is just how people present their product. And I'm not talking about does your CD look professional or does your EPK look professional. I'm talking about like when it gets to the real brass tacks business of things and how people want you to approach them. When somebody tells you, this is how I need you to submit your music to me or your art or whatever, like you really probably should follow that protocol because the person's probably set it up like that to make sure they're, one, weeding out the people that ain't serious. 2, they have an organized way to be able to process everything that's coming into them so they can get to everybody. And 3, like, people have things set up the way they want to do it because that's how they feel comfortable doing it. And when you're going to them, you're asking them to engage in what they've already got going. So like with I'd say like with a blog, like you can speak on that. Like you were speaking earlier about how like
my whole thing is that my inbox, like, and submit your music on the tab.
First do this. First, how should people submit? If you can think of a general way, how should people submit their material to a blog or your blog, just period? Like, give me some basic general.
I think at minimum, you should have 2 press photos. One of those press photos can be from head to toe. Then you should have a headshot. Then the 3rd image, if you cannot link these, then, I mean, 3 attachments can be a bit much, but if you can, link these within your email. Just your cover art for your most recent single, your most recent project, or your video, because a lot of people are doing cover art for videos that are fresh up on YouTube or fresh up on their website. They're doing that. So 2 press photos, full body, 1 headshot, 1 cover image for most recent project, single, video. The next thing is your bio. The next thing should be, and your bio is not, yo, what's up, my name is such and such from the D or from the A or from the, like,
Albuquerque?
I don't know, man. I get some stuff, man. So a professionally written biography, you can go to Wikipedia, you can mimic what you see there. I mean, I've had people do that, complete with footnotes and everything, so I know that they just copy and pasted it and put their name in. But it was still an effort. It's an E for effort. But your bio, your web links, if you don't have a website, you should at least have a Facebook music page or a business page. Bandcamp, your Reverb Nation. A lot of y'all use Reverb Nation as a press kit. That for me doesn't give me everything I want. I know I said a lot of this last week, but definitely some way to have press photos, cover image, your website, all of your social media platforms that you use should be linked within the email. And, you know, maybe just as a little something sweet, a little cherry on top, something to show me that you've read my blog, that you like the color scheme, or you like how I write, or just something, an article that blogger has written that's caught your eye.
In music.
In music, I mean, you know, just
yeah, I've had people send me all of that you just explained. No music.
Well, yeah.
No video. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, so that's another thing, is just how to submit stuff. And then on the physical aspect, when we're talking about like hand-to-hand things, you know, let's deal with DJs. Give you a little knowledge on this. DJs, you have to understand, as artists, a DJ is a gatekeeper. A DJ is the person between the artist and the people. The most direct link, usually. I mean, besides, you know, the straight social media stuff, but to me, even more direct than that, because a good DJ probably has a residency at a club or something, so they want at the same place every week, and they have a following. They have people directly associated with them that are going to hear your music. DJs have certain standards. You know, some DJs are like, hey, email me your music with the press kit or whatever. Some DJs are very simple, like, hey, just email me an MP3 with the regular version, album version, radio, instrumental, acapella, you know, whatever. Some are just simple as, hey, just email me the MP3, subject, whatever. Respect that DJ's process. Because let me tell you something about DJs. They could be some a-holes, man, because they know they're gatekeepers. And at the end of the day, that's their right to be. Like, hey, if you're going to bring me something and you want me to get behind and promote it, you're going to have to play by my rules. At least until you get to the point to where you can afford for me to play by your rules. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, But, you know, when a DJ tells you to send something a specific way, make sure you do it that way. Then make sure you don't hound and harass. That does not equate to hustle. Harassment does not equate to hustle. You know, you don't want to come off thirsty. You want to
or disrespectful.
Exactly. And that's the whole word. You want to be respectful about everybody's process. Respectful, but at the same time, you want to be persistent. So I would say send the DJ the material, however they wanted it. Send a follow-up email, maybe like 2 business days later. None of this is like exact science. People do not get it misunderstood. There is no exact science. These are just recommendations. Somebody can tell you wait 3 business days and send 1 email, then wait another 5. It just depends on the person. Like some people, I'm the kind of person where if you're sending me something and I'm probably going to give this away and probably shouldn't do this, you probably need to call me every day. Because I'm so busy, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease in my world, you know. So until I tell you, hey, don't call me no more, I will call you on this day. I don't mind people blowing me up because sometimes I just forget things, and I'm so bombarded with so much stuff that it's like sometimes the squeaky wheel will get the grease, and it's annoying to me, but at the same time I understand that. So what I'm saying is just understand each blogger, each DJ, each outlet that you want to get with, record company, whatever it is, just try to understand what their particular process is before you do anything. And then make sure you're sending them something that they work with. Like, don't send a gangster rap album to
Afropunk.
I mean, Afropunk might do it, but don't send a gangster rap album to like Epitaph Records or something like that. That's like a punk, hardcore metal label, so they're not checking for that. So make sure you're doing your due diligence, your research. With the internet age, the way things are right now, like there's no reason for you not to be able to research. The material is out there, Wikipedia, Google, whatever, man. Like if you want to know about it or a particular thing, then you can find out about it. So that is something that will get you canceled. Learning how to present your stuff, and if you are presenting something that's physical, some people say to me like, "Oh, don't bring me a CD written." I don't particularly care. What I care about is your approach. Your approach. I've had some fantastic looking CDs handed to me. Like, this is dope looking, but the person didn't catch my interest. Like, they just gave it to me and walked off. So just as important as how the CD, whatever it may look, what's more important is what's on that CD, the quality of it, and how you actually present it to people. If you don't have a lot of time, you might want to make sure it looks extra dope because people don't have a lot of time. If you actually have time to talk with the person, you might want to focus on your presentation. Like, hey, what's going on? My name is James Christos, a.k.a. Pharaoh. I'm out of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a hip-hop artist. My style is kind of like blase blah. You know, I got this CD. You know, boom, like you got your 30-second pitch. Because the person, I've had CDs that look terrible, but I remember the conversation with the person, even if it was only 15 seconds. I remember how they came to me. I remember like, yo, let me check this out. You know, so that's another thing you want to consider. Is there a third thing that you?
My final note is if you see that there's a lot of activity on a blog, if you see that their Facebook page is constantly blowing up and you see a lot of likes, that means that there is someone behind that computer on the other side of that providing content. Their time is spent with, you know, sorting through emails, getting the content, getting the news to you, getting all of that good information to you, so everything is scheduled. It's very important to schedule everything when you're on the other side of the computer. So if the blogger says use the subject Blue Note, I'm just, you know, thinking about anything, then they might have a tab set up in their email so that pops up and they're able to see it. Just pay very close attention to the submission guidelines and processes so that you can present yourself properly. As he said, that's just a tip, just, you know, an example of what he's saying. If somebody has given you guidelines and told you exactly how to do it, just follow that as much as possible. It's just like school. Just like listening to the professor, give them back what they've given to you, however they've asked for it. It's very simple.
All right, and the third thing we'll address in this particular subject, which is, again, things that artists do to get themselves canceled from the game. We're going to go into some business here. artists, you got to understand that you are pretty much an employee. You're a work for hire, whether it's a promoter, whether it's some type of label that has brought you on or signed you, whether it is just your music that you're getting to the fans. Work for hire isn't really the right term because legally, if you look into that, that means some whole other stuff. But you're basically an employee to people. So you have to conduct yourself like that. It's all about your customer service to your customers. So if you're somebody that's doing shows, the promoter that's put you on the show that has probably paid you or made some kind of split with you for tickets or whatever, and those people at the show, you're working for them. So you need to conduct yourself like that. Coming in there with an inflated ego when nobody really even knows who you are. Coming in there demanding things, not being meek, not understanding how to have humility and be humble. People, you'll find it that people don't care how dope you are. If you suck as a person, people won't call you back. They just won't call you back. I've seen some really talented people. I've dealt with a lot of talented people, and I've dealt with some talented people that their attitude is terrible. Man, it makes it to where you don't care that 100 people came out to see them. You just don't want to do business with them anymore because it wasn't worth it. Because at the end of the day, what you walked away with was a bigger headache, probably a deeper hole in your pocket. Everybody else had a good time in a party, but you're just sitting there looking crazy. So, artists, you need to understand that you are a servant to the people, to your following, to your crowd, to your demographic or whatever you want to call it. When it comes to putting out music to the people that buy it, like make sure you're putting time and effort into what you're doing and quality. And I think that's one of the big arguments with a lot of artists now from back in the day and artists now is like, the newer generation has this thing of saying that the older generation is hating because the older generation is like, this music is cookie cutter and all this, that, and third. But heck, man, back in '79, people that were born in the '40s thought that rap was cookie cutter. You know what I mean? So it's just, opinions don't matter. The thing about it is when you're providing a product to somebody, make sure you're putting your effort into it, man. Make sure you appreciate those people that are going to listen to your music, and make sure you carry yourself like that, whether it's online, publicly. Just try to be a good person, because you'll find that people will deal with you. Even if you make mistakes or you do things or you have a hit or a miss here and there, if people like you, they'll rock with you. And I'm sure you've heard the saying that it's not what you know, but who you know. But that's very important. It's not even who you know, it's how they know you or what they know of you. Does he have a good attitude? Does he show up on time to do shows? Does he perform well? Is he consistent with his music? Is he grateful for the things and the opportunities he has? Do they put other people on? You know what I'm saying? These are all things you've got to consider because you are a brand, you are a company, you are an entity that you're trying to attract people. So why are people going to be attracted to you? Don't just think it's because your music's hot, because that's not what it is these days. There's tons of hot music out there. What attracts people to you is who you are, and your music is supposed to be a reflection of who you are. So,
as a final note, I just want to say the word responsibility. A lot of people hear me, quote unquote, preach about responsibility, but when you've been gifted with a talent to be creative and you're sharing that gift, you have a responsibility to carry yourself a certain way, to conduct yourself a certain way, to conduct business a certain way, because there's people watching you. There's kids watching you, the fans are watching you, the venue owners are watching you, the DJs are watching you, the talent buyers are watching you. You're being watched, and people want to see what you're going to do with what you've been gifted with. And so you have a responsibility to present yourself a certain way, to carry yourself a certain way. I will admit I've struggled with it because people test you, but at the end of the day, I have a responsibility, everyone has a responsibility to carry themselves a certain way, especially in this business, or you will cancel yourself.
Right. Don't be fooled by these celebrities and reality stars acting all wild and crazy. Like, there's a reason why they're doing reality shows, and the reality role is bigger than their actual
14 minutes and 59
right.
seconds.
So, focus on that. But thanks for joining us again. We've been brought to you by Exclusive Wireless here at 3724 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. Make sure you come down, holler at them. Tell them the Anarchy movement sent you. Get that player family price. Shout out to Sunil and E Events. Shout out to Stepster for hosting us and having us up in Chicago last week. Shout out to AE Headphones, our official South by Southwest sponsor. You'll be seeing those down there. Make sure you come by our showcase in Austin, Texas. We'll have more information up on that this week. And you might grab a pair of headphones because we're going to have something to give away and promote and everything. Again, thanks to Moto G for that good video we're picking up. Virgin Mobile for the Wi-Fi connect on how we're broadcasting you all. And, yeah, just we'll holler at you next week. Thursday, actually. Not next week, Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Later.